G'day, Scarvig here, and we've got a little bit of a teaser from the Game Awards on Ark 2. We've got the trailer that they basically showed off for what is Ark 2. We're basically going to run through that and have a bit of a quick squiz and see what it is that they've actually got.
It's time to go. Lights out, old friend.
And initially here, we basically see the image of a little girl and a plant-like creature. And so with this particular section, it's rather interesting in that not only have you got a child within the Ark world, we've actually got creatures that can camouflage into the terrain. which I think is really, really cool. So it shows that there are potential new things in terms of what they're thinking. And obviously we have Vin Diesel basically playing one of the characters. And he's playing Santiago. And Santiago is actually... Oh, missed a little bit there too. Santiago is actually the guy who created the mechs. And one of the things that's probably interesting to note there, as the little girl walked past, she brushed up against an egg. You know, they're obviously either hunting for eggs or they've got a live egg that they're using for hatching. And so you've got your similar arc mechanics that are going on there in very much a primitive world. And then basically we have the people, right? So they've actually got primitive species or hostile species of creatures within the world. And whether that's a new enemy or whether it's just something specific for the trailer, I don't know. Alright, so one of the things we can actually look at here is there's a very specific tribal armor that the guy is actually wearing. And they've actually got protrusions from their skin. Whether that's actually a race-specific thing or whether it's something else, I don't particularly know. But whether any of these features will be available to the survivors will be an interesting aspect. And basically, although it's a little bit of a fuzzy shot that I've actually paused on, the handspin of the axe. I'll possibly try and recreate that one. What's the handspin? Hey, there it is. Yeah. Alright. And so yes, the dinosaurs are definitely not gone. So the dinosaurs are definitely still here. Alright, after that lovely solid blow, we're going to pause that, mainly because one of the interesting parts about that scene is Vin Diesel does a roll. Right, so he jumps and he rolls. I'm actually hoping that they actually put dodge mechanics into the game. They already tried to do it with the Raptors, but whether they actually managed to perfect that and bring it into the next one, that'd be really cool, where a creature that you're fighting, whether it be a humanoid or whether it be a dinosaur, you will actually have an active ability where you can actually dodge their attacks. And I think that would be fantastic. Right, another quite interesting moment there, where the female fighter actually pins a creature to the, pins the humanoid to the ground. Again, is that going to be a specific attack that's going to be available in the game? Because if you can sacrifice an enemy while you're being chased, or sacrifice your friends, which would be even more horrible, but, you know, is it a mechanic that's going to come into the game that could be fun to utilize? Who knows? And And now we know that they are survivors, as they have the implants. And this mural is probably the one that's the most specific of the lot of them. So this mural, you can actually see the various different types of dinosaurs. Brontosaurs, Rexes, potentially one that's a Dillo there, Stegos, Helena in the middle with the obelisks. But across the top there are actually the new creatures that we're seeing. And that's what's one of the things that just makes me think that they are the new enemy that's actually going to be coming into Ark number 2. Something that is a bit more humanoid rather than dinosaur. And so this mural has a little bit of an interesting aspect to it. Again, we're now looking at some of the stuff that's come through the Genesis with the Ark cryopods and things like that. And the interface, which actually has the Terran logo on it. So here we have Santiago. His genetic sequence is apparently complete, even though he has an implant. His Ingram implanting is not complete, so it's incomplete. And that leads me to believe that, while this version of Santiago is a clone, and you actually look at the little girl that was a clone, and all the other people that were fighting with them, they're all gone. Right, so it's only the little girl and Santiago now in the room together. I feel like that they were trying to achieve something in a simulation. And that's where my mind has already gone to after watching the trailer. And we'll go a little bit more into it. So this next scene, you can see that there's a security override, there's a purge, and it goes through various different things for simulation data. And Santiago is using the console, even though he basically has the implant and he's basically a clone. He's using it very, very fluently. He doesn't miss a beat in terms of what buttons he's clicking.
It's our old friend.
And mentions old friend. And so yes, my final thoughts, I guess, on the whole scenario, having watched all of that, I feel like when they're actually bringing out Ark 2, we may see something that's a little bit more instance specific. So you may end up having your home territory. You may have that Ark, which is actually like a big world where you have that multiplayer environment, but then you will have caves which will have simulated environments that you need to go into to do quests where you need to complete goals and objectives. And each of those will be a multiplayer environment where you can go in with other people to make yourself a more complete survivor. It's only conjecture at this point, obviously, and I've watched a few other people's versions of this, and there's a lot of different takes that you could possibly go with. But the take that I'm putting my money on, and it's probably going to be completely wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised, based on the current Genesis where they have missions and the storeroom, that they're going to create instances where you can take various different survivors in together to complete missions and goals, which will actually give you rewards as a result of your progress. Hence the reason why the instance itself will have a cave with the ability to obviously purge what you've done and start over. It sounds, from the looks of this, there'll still be that base world that everybody interacts on. They're obviously not, I wouldn't expect them to walk away from PvP, but this would give you a clear delineation between your PvP and your PvP worlds, because if you want to go on and do an instance specific thing where you're trying to get rewards and play with other people, it's completely separate from PvP. you've got your PvE world where you can do those things for rewards. And then from a PvP side, you've got the open world that you can basically interact with each other for. But, you know, who am I to know what's going on? Why don't you let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are? And yeah, hopefully we'll see some wonderful things coming on the news soon for Ark. Alright, catch you later.